Mayor Reed?
Here.
Mr. Bolt? Here. Ms. Hall? Mr. Stewart?
Here.
Ms. Buckus?
Here.
Ms. Rose?
Here.
Mr. Sigmund?
Here.
President Reed?
Where? Pledge allegiance. Thanks for helping me out. Bear along with me tonight. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, so under presentations, we have the 2020 preliminary budget.
Thanks, Councilman Clerk. Yeah, I'd like to, if anybody, council, however you wanna do it, I'm gonna present some highlights of the budget right now where we're at.
Okay.
And if anybody from the public or council has questions as I'm going through, please answer.
Thanks, Joe.
The only thing I don't wanna see leave the packet, I have everybody's salaries in there and their benefits.
Right.
I laid it all out for you.
Right,
That shouldn't go out to the public unless it's requested.
right.
Right now, but.
Okay.
Right now, the initial budget for 2020, we're looking at a deficit right now. It's a little less than $1 million. I want to just go over a few things that I think we need to do, and then I want to hear everybody else's recommendations or thoughts on this. Right now, our real estate assessment that we got from the county was $168 million. So that means our net mill, after taking a 5% delinquency and 2% discount if people pay their taxes early, our net mill this year will be $168,556. Now, that's $1 million. Our deficit's about $143,000 right now. So to balance the budget, you need to raise taxes a little less than $1 million. But the problem we have with our net mill is, I've been here since 2013. In 2013, our net assessment for the county was roughly $4,200 per year more. So in the last 7 years, the borough has lost about roughly $200,000 in taxes due to decreased residential and business assessments.
Yeah.
So we're losing about $30,000 to $40,000 a year as our assessment is reduced. And our assessment comes from the county, and they give us a number, and then that's how we calculate the millage based on the assessment. And ours has been going down. Another highlight of the thing, we had no trash fee. We had no trash fee in the borough. And this year, there's $221,434 in trash expenses, and we're offsetting with taxes. There's no fee to cover those costs. Another big thing is, the proposed FOP contract is a 25% increase over 5 years. As we've done in the past, we've given all employees the same as the police. So in this budget, there's 5% increases for everybody across the board. County, that's council, and that's, I don't know if the budget, I wasn't involved with the police contract, so I don't know where you're going with that. But that's 5% for non-uniform as well. Good thing is, since we moved into the Delaware County Public Health Care Trust Fund, this will be the 3rd straight year without an increase in our health, to prescription dental and vision insurance. We roughly pay $48,000 a month to cover the employees with their benefits. There's a 3% increase in the property and casualty insurance, as well as our liability and workers' comp insurances. Another fee which is reflected in $221,434 in trash expenses. It costs us $53 per ton to dump at the Solid Waste Authority, and our recycling costs $90 per ton. So we're moving people's trash, we're not getting paid for it. There's $50,000 budgeted from bills this year that's projected to be carried forward in 2020. It's down from last year. That number might be a little bit lower towards the end of the year. The talk about a new administrator of police building, there's no money budgeted for that because there's no excess money. There's no reserve in the budget. Projections are estimated. We're going to continue to make sure that new businesses are compliant with the 1% LST taxes in the town. And then some of the stuff I haven't read, just some ideas I have that council can do moving forward next year. No purchases should be approved prior to a council meeting vote or projected accounts payable. All overtime must be requested and approved by council at the monthly meeting. LERTA ordinance must be proposed to entice new businesses in the town. Yeah, you just did that with Alliance, I believe, with LERTA, so that's a good thing. Landlord should not be issued a CO without having all real estate taxes paid within the borough. And any capital purchases should be approved at the meetings. And, the budget's predicated on not exceeding expenses, expectations of business permits. Now, I budget $275,000 for business permits. We're at $313,000 this year, but there's about $100,000 in big permits. So you gotta hope, that's predicated on the Alliance comes in next year, puts a shovel on the ground, a couple other businesses, get that 275. And also, we really gotta start talking about this trash fee going forward, what you're gonna decide to do, because the cost of trash are going through the roof, and it's only gonna get more expensive to dispose of trash. And you're subsidizing it with real estate taxes. I have another sheet in there. Salaries and the benefits, as you will see. There's some retired officers that, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 officers that are retired, still collecting benefits per the contract. That's standard in the county, but you have 7 of them. You also have a former manager still collecting benefits under her agreement that was settled way back in 2014. She's still collecting benefits. That's on there. As you can see, if you go through it, I know it's small print, but you can see I have everybody's salary this year, the projected 5% increases, and all their benefits across the board, what they receive. For the police, with the 5%, if the contract's passed, within 5 years, you'll have close to 5 or 6 officers making over $100,000. I budgeted 6 part-timers at 20 hours, 25 hours per week. As fire EMTs, there's 1, 2, 3. There's 6 positions budgeted at 15 hours per week, and then your recreation, we budget for 5 hours per week, whoever you decide to use for in the summer. It's all pretty standard. That can go depending on how much use you use. Is less net, then the number will be less. Any questions as I go through? Now, I have an Eddystone tax and fee analysis that you have in front of you. From 2013 to 2016, our millage is 5.75 mils each year. There was no increase for 4 years. No trash fee, and your sewer fee was $345 for those 4 years. 2017, you bumped it up, the millage went up to 7.00. Sewer stayed the same, no trash fee. 2018, there was another bump to 9.15. And now, there was no bump last year or in 2019. Now you have raised the mills about 2.5 mils. And since 2013, you've added 4 full-time officers. We did that, I think, in 14. There's been 21% raises through 2019. They got 3% raises for the last few years. Purchased a home. The firehouse debt service really came into place. We got all finished in 13. We started paying over $200,000 a year in debt. There's been insurance increases. Trash expenses have gone over $200,000. We've had a decrease in the assessments. Police cars, we purchase police cars almost every year. You're paying Ridley Township $2,100 a month for turnkey for the prisoners, which I think is unreasonably high. It should be half of that. I don't know how many prisoners there are yet. We just pay $2,100 a month. There's been an increase in the police pension. And then we've had major repairs done to this building, the firehouse, Lighthouse Hall, the QRS program, the office equipment we purchased. We've had some frivolous lawsuits. We had to pay extra legal fees. And then sewer processing and repairs every year goes up and up because our infrastructure's getting older. And we really haven't been able to, that's why there's no reserve money, because we've barely been paying these bills with very little revenue coming in. Now what I'm suggesting is if you were to increase, the council decided to increase 1 mil to cover the deficit right now, for a house assessed at $50,000, it would be a $50 increase a year. It'd be $4.16 a month, 14 cents a day. And I suggest you put a $10 trash fee in place just to start getting that in place, because you're gonna need that, because the trash fees, I don't know where they're going with the fees. If you wanted to go to a 1.25 mil increase, it's $62.50 a year, and the 1.5 mil increase is $75 increase per year. We're in better shape this year than we were last year. At the end of the year, we'll be able to pay the MMO at the end of the year, which we weren't able to last year. And we'll meet our obligations, but we have no real, that's why we have to get a tax anticipation note. We have no real cash going into the new year. So we'll get the tax anticipation note again. But if anybody has any questions, I've thrown a lot of numbers at you, but and most towns have the same problem. There's not enough money coming in to cover the increased costs. We either cut costs or you find other revenue sources. if you wanna keep balancing the budget without raising taxes.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When Ridley decides to let these homes and businesses, liquidate some of their taxes for us, is there any say-so we get, or does Ridley just decide, and don't tell us? Isn't it after the
The
fact?
school district goes and, the school district solicitor represents the boroughs when they go for the tax assessment. You could go and show up at the hearing or talk to, I don't know who the solicitor is for the school district, talk to them, but they a lot of times just meet in the middle. And they're pretty, the school district solicitors pretty much know what they're doing, but it can't hurt for Sandy to give them a call and just say, we're looking to fight, we might wanna fight this assessment, and Eddystone might wanna fight this, instead of just go meeting in the middle.
But they usually don't fight it though, as a general rule, they just.
Nah, I'm not sure, I know some
Yeah.
towns do, some towns don't.
And we find out after the fact.
Yeah, we don't know until after the fact, when it comes across, it's already a done deal.
That'll be just a communication issue, I don't know how the school does it really
Yeah.
yet. But your assessments are going down.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what's, our millage, and we need more mills to cover our taxes, because as the assessment goes down, we lose real estate taxes unless you raise the millage.
Well, it was Walmart, we lost over $1 million, it was $2 million.
Yeah, they reassess
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, they reset a lot.
Eddystone Borough, down there.
Yes.
Office building.
Yeah,
down
they
there,
reset that
$1.5
too.
million less.
It's about $4 or $5 million in
Yeah,
the last
less.
5, 6 years.
Yeah,
Now you have some property coming on an industrial park that might raise it back up.
Yeah.
I don't know
you're
where that's
correct,
going.
yeah. We're hoping.
Are you taking questions from the
Sure,
floor?
I guess so.
Joe, what's driving the 5% increase across the board for both uniform and non-uniform employees?
Historically, since I've been here, whatever the police got, the non-uniform got. And the way I understand there's a proposed 5% increase for the police this year for 5 years, so that's why I put 5 in there. You don't want it, that's absolutely come out.
What's the current cost of living, about 2.5?
If that.
So we're looking at double the cost of living here.
Yeah, I'm just following how we've done in the past. It's not locked in stone. But I don't know if the contract's even been voted on or not. I don't even know what's.
I don't believe we voted on the police contract.
Yeah, so, but that's the proposal, I was told 25%. That's why I put 5% in here. And that's why I made a point that if you wanna cut it, that can be cut, at least on the non-uniform side.
Well, if that contract hasn't been voted on, it's not a contract yet.
No, it's just proposed.
So, is it just 5% or are there any additional
I don't know.
things? You don't, I know you didn't handle that job.
Yeah, I just know that 25%, that's all I'm aware of.
I've been told that most, places around the county are doing an increase of maybe 3%.
Yeah, that's the most I've seen, 3 and 2.5%.
And we ended up with 5%. Then there's been a question raised about whether or not the officers are gonna get increased pay for having gotten their EMT training. Is that 5% because of the EMT training?
I'm not sure.
You don't know. Does anybody know that? Would it be possible for us?
We discussed it, to give them a stipend for doing the EMT and finishing it
That's,
for their work hours.
that's
and stuff.
included in the 5%? Or
No, no.
in addition to the 5%?
Just one time, a stipend for them, commitment to the program, to finishing the program, all the hours, and all that stuff, yes.
But it's contingent on them staying in the program.
Right,
They need the
right.
program to stay.
They have to finish, they have to,
They have to stay certified.
yeah.
When that stipend went out to them, was there any consideration to, we don't have a copy of the budget to look at. We don't know what the plans are in terms of the EMT payments and things like that. Can you tell us in general, or is that gonna stay pretty much the same, or?
The EMTs?
Yeah.
I budgeted less than the salaries. Last year we budgeted, I think, close to over 100,000. We're in the $70,000 range. I don't know what the charge of the board is going forward with the EMTs, but there's money budgeted for,
We budgeted 100,000 and the 70,000 is what? Is that what's in the budget, or is that?
I had budgeted this year for proposal budget, I budgeted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions at 15 hours per week,
All the numbers.
each position, and with I have the 5% increase in their raises, so they're making between $15 and $20 an hour is the ballpark salary for that. The total EMT budget for salaries is close to $76,000.
So
Projected.
we're putting
I
less
know.
in the budget this
I
year
know.
than we put in last year for
Yeah.
the EMTs.
Yeah,
And is that because we didn't spend the amount that was budgeted last year on EMT coverage?
that I don't know if that has anything to do with it, I made a projection here, so they
Okay.
decide if they want
But
more or less.
you looked at the actual expense, what we paid for EMT salaries in
Yeah.
2019.
And it's less, exactly.
And it's less.
The hours are less too.
And that may be because we haven't had full coverage on the ambulance. Is that not true?
That's, yeah, that
The
would-
ambulance has not been going out
That I'm not
because
sure.
we haven't been hiring people to fill the schedule.
Okay, well,
Which again, is not Joe's thing. He doesn't decide that. Is there a chance that this, budget that is being presented here is gonna be made publicly available? Is the
This
reason
is
why.
preliminary.
This is more of a meeting, they have to adopt the preliminary next week.
Okay, so this is not even the preliminary budget.
No,
Right.
I'm projecting, I'm just gonna throw numbers out there and see if they agree with it.
Can I ask you just one question that's kind of specific? I was going over last December, and there was one charge on there for 44,000 and some change on there. And is that something that we might expect again this year in December? Is that something that happens every year?
What's it for?
Went to a risk management company,
That would've been our insurance.
and do we pay that like in a lump sum? at the end
That
of
would
the
be,
year?
that might be quarterly, our workers' comp insurance is about 50 a quarter, no, not 50, but 40 a quarter, a little less than that, 30 something, so that might include some other insurances, we pay quarterly to Arthur Gallagher.
Okay.
So, but that's, if you can see, that went up 3%, but our workers' comp, I budgeted like 120-some thousand. And we have police liability, we have general liability, we have, financial bonds for the certain people that handle the money. We have, property insurance, it's quite a bit of insurance, big insurance package. So that's
It sounded like you said that we're gonna be caught up on the MMO by the end of the year.
Yeah, well, I'll have this year's paid on time, so I'm hoping to kick some more into the back from last year too. We've been paying a little bit at a time. I don't know if we'll be caught up, but at least we'll be paying this one timely. There's enough money in there to cover this one time. Like I said, once that's paid at the end of the month, there's no extra money. That's why we gotta kick the can in, taxable station.
So does that mean we're gonna be still over $100,000 behind? in that?
Ballpark, yeah, yeah.
So how are you caught up and paid this year if last year's isn't paid up yet?
I'd pay this year, it depends on where the actuary applies it. So I'm gonna ask them to apply it to this year's money and just keep paying on last year.
I don't know anybody that applies on
Well, it
resident
depends.
basis past this.
It depends, it reduce the interest, so, but you're not gonna catch up, there's no revenue coming in, I mean, I show you the numbers. The revenue is what it is, and we just keep spending more money, we gotta cover it.
Well, how can we afford to give double the cost of living to all the employees, including the police, if we're not able to meet our obligations? And again, that's not your thing, Joe.
But the contract's
Questions
not
of the
mine.
council.
The trash fee, I've been harping on for many years.
Yeah.
We're can't cover, we're 200,000, Beth last year wanted to see the trash fee.
Yeah.
$200,000 in trash fees, every town has a fee, it's not a tax, it's a fee for a service that that everybody charges for your expenses. You can't bring in extra trash revenue. So if there's $200,000 worth of fees in trash to move your trash, you only can bring in $200,000. You can't bring in extra money and go pay the bills and give raises, it has to cover your trash. And you guys get trash, I think, twice a week,
Right.
every week. So
And
I
recycling.
pay National over $300 a year, and I consider that a friggin' deal, and we don't get it twice a week. I mean, to move trash and to move sewage, $345 a year for your sewage, I think is dirt cheap. And I'm not speaking out of turn, I don't think.
But
I think that's
essentially, we're spending more than we're bringing in, so we're running a deficit budget here. Every year, we're gonna be getting farther and farther behind. Now, whether we get the revenue through tax changes, or if we get the revenue through, permits, or get the revenue through having a trash fee, I personally think that the trash fee, I don't care about that, cause we're already paying for the trash removal through our taxes. And, it might be a bookkeeping thing, but whether I get a bill for $40, or if I get, $40 more in my taxes, it doesn't make any difference to me. Right? I'm still paying the $40.
But you have businesses that are paying taxes to cover this, they can say, my taxes are paying for residential trash pickup, and I'm not getting the items out of the dumpster.
Okay.
So there's an argument there. You also, some people are assessed differently, so a woman might be paying less, could pay less in taxes because her assessment's lower, and pay the straight fee, because everybody's getting the same service with the fee, twice a week pickup.
Okay.
It's just, I'm just concerned about that, because the cost of moving trash It went up $20 a ton last year at solid waste. The recyclable is going through the roof.
Through the roof.
And now it's gonna go up again in the next couple of years. They have no choice. We're one of the lower landfill costs in the state of Pennsylvania. Some counties are charging $80, $90 a ton for regular trash.
And what's to say Walmart's not gonna want another decrease?
Right.
You know, and, these people that own a lot of homes at Eddystone take it out and say they want their houses, you know, reassessed again.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be with the county the countywide reassessment, I think it's gonna bounce things off. I don't think it will increase anything, but I think it'll make it a little fairer. We won't see as many drops, I don't think.
I would hope so.
We
You're
just
not
had
gonna see any
we just had a landlord, appeal his taxes, and got 10 properties reassessed at half the value.
Yeah,
It's
Prior.
crazy.
you don't
It's
see
out
it.
And it's, attorneys are doing that.
Yeah.
With all the landlords
Yeah.
that have multiple properties.
It's happening
Yeah.
everywhere.
It's happening, I know it is happening everywhere.
Houses that were assessed at 100,000 are now 50, so you lose half the revenue there.
Yeah.
And that's each house. There's 10 of them, 10 properties.
It's the same names, it's the same couple attorneys that are.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The same guys.
And the same
lawyers.
homeowners.
But if
in
a
this
homeowner
town
goes
own
there
another
and wants to
town.
reassess,
They
they won't get it reassessed. Why? That's what I always ask, why?
I think market value, they're buying these properties pretty cheap, sheriff
They're-
sales and stuff
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
buying them cheap, but then they have to fix them up, so now they're actually nicer than,
And they bought 'em.
yes, a lot of other properties are such high.
Mm-hmm.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Dan works with me, shows me these, properties that are reassessed and sold, and it's,
It's crazy.
yeah.
It is.
Is there a reverse on that, where you could go to the county and say these properties have increased? Lisa's nodding her head.
We actually just did that
Yeah.
for Chichester Township.
Uh-huh.
So, once you find that they are going forward and making changes to improve their property, you can go back to the assessment office and as long as you can prove that there's been a substantial
Yeah,
increase.
substantial.
Yeah, they've done it.
back can you go, Lisa?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
How many years can you go?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. I know, we didn't do it, I didn't do it. The Board of Commissioners, suggested to, like Pierce, the solicitor, to go ahead and ask for
Problem is you gotta rely on
the
school.
assessment through the school district.
Yeah.
School district
Steve
will want us
Blaha
to do
did
it.
it.
That's a school district, yeah.
Through the school district,
Yeah.
but it did work. So, it's nice when you can go through reverse.
Yeah.
Then the county assessment, when I hand permits in, they want to only get like decks, additions, they don't care about, you know, renovating a kitchen, renovating the bathroom, and that pertains to these rental properties, where they're, doing these improvements. They're still getting their taxes, or their assessment cut in half. So I don't know if they're actually doing their part out there, based on the permits.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping them. I mean, Walmart, you know, $1 million is nothing to them, you know? 2 million, 3 million.
I think Karen was looking into something to figure out how to
Yeah,
get them, go back and have them reassessed.
reassess, yeah.
So it still comes back to why are we raising the, police pay rate so much more than other communities are? And is that just like a 1-year thing, or is that a multi-year contract?
It's a proposed 5-year contract.
So a 5-year contract would be, they'd get a 25% increase in their present salaries, and that would be like $500,000 or something?
Well, compound, so if somebody's making 100,000, they get 105 next year, then they get 5% of 105, and then 5% of like 108, 109, so it just keeps
So
going.
each year,
It's not
the
straight
increase they
line.
get is
Yeah, it's
bigger
not
because
straight.
their base
It's not
salary is
straight line
larger,
right now.
Correct.
bigger in dollars.
And it'll also increase it'll increase our pension payment also, even though they contribute to it, our pension payment will go up.
Who do we have negotiating that contract with the union?
Me and Stanley.
You and Stanley? Do you have any, I mean, can you tell me why we're paying 5% and other towns are paying 3%?
I don't know that there's any special reason.
Well, we did a little research out there, and we can start off, one, why we lose so many part-time police officers.
Yeah.
Because we're set at $17 an hour. They're 25, 23, 26.
The lowest paid in the.
Right.
Lowest paid in county.
Chester County out that way, 5% across the board it
But
went.
they're not under contract,
Who's not under contract?
the part-time police officers.
I understand that, but you gotta give them something to keep them here.
Uh-huh.
They go to Walmart's and make $15 an hour.
I know, but if they get 5%, they're getting 5% increase on $14 an hour, not 5% increase on $70 or $80 or $100,000 a year.
Well, I personally, I feel that's a good deal. I think it's
Is
the
there
right
an
thing to
economic
do.
reason for
And
that?
I can sleep with that, because knowing what they go through day in, day out, and what they've been through, I think it was time to do this.
We're at 1803 for the part-timers, with the 5% increase, they'll be at 1893.
Right, they won't get 20 until
Still
the
one of the
following
lower
year.
ones, yeah,
We're
but it's
still
not
lowest.
14, it's
Right, we're still the lowest
Still
paid.
lowest.
Still one of the lower, most of them are close to low 20s, high 90s.
Like I said, I can sleep at night with this contract. I have no problem. I don't know how the rest of them feel. They must, like I said, we talked about it.
My opinion is just, it's not the worth of the officer, it's that what the market can bear, can we afford it?
Can
Has
we
nothing to
afford to
do with-
lose them?
I'm not saying that, but
It is
but
what
then you
needs
gotta,
to be covered, though.
you gotta find a way to pay for it.
I
mean, that's the
understand
hard
that, but
part.
we also have to find a way to have officers, good officers.
I'm not saying, I'm not doing that question, I'm just throwing the numbers out there, that's why you have a deficit, we're gonna have to solve your deficit. And do you wanna keep non-uniform at 5%, that's your call, I'm just throwing your numbers, that's all your
Gas
decision.
contracts, they were horrible.
The past contracts were horrible in what way?
Well, they weren't paid what they should have got. They had to go to court to get money from individuals.
What court hearing was it? What court hearing? I don't recall a court hearing with the
Well,
police
I'm
contract.
just
We
saying-
didn't go to arbitration, they agreed to the contract.
Now, all I can tell you is this. What I saw, I didn't like.
Past previous council.
And I don't think what was
Yeah,
done was
yeah.
wrong. I think it was the right thing to do at the right time to keep these guys. We got a good police force. Regardless of what people say, they do their job. And they're
nobody's
walking into
questioning that.
situations that are not easy to deal with anymore. And I don't wanna lose, you wanna build a town, you gotta build the police force first.
What about EMS? You don't support the EMS,
I,
you support the
well,
police.
I never said I didn't support it. We gotta find a way to do it.
Well,
we're
you
cutting.
you're finding a way to give them 5%, but you're not finding a way to support the EMS.
Well, I can't talk about it now,
They do their job.
but there's things that can be done.
They do a good job, was that your
I
comment?
said they do their job.
The EMS do their job too.
No one ever said they didn't.
Well, she just said,
I did not, I said the police do their job.
I,
It's not saying that the fire department doesn't do
the
their
fire
job.
department do a
But
great job also.
No one.
how many
no one disputes that.
volunteers have we had? We've had a decrease. in
Mandy, how
police.
many years have you volunteered up there?
I haven't,
Zero,
and I
exactly.
won't.
I
I
volunteered
haven't, and I
30
won't.
years up there. It's a shame that there's no volunteers no more. It's a shame. It's not my fault.
I've taken my daughter out of the fire department downstairs because there was no supervision.
There was supervision.
There wasn't
There is
supervision.
supervision.
There wasn't.
is
There was
supervision.
drinking, there was nonsense, there was lots of chaos going on.
Well, I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about the paid staff. I know the fire
Okay,
department.
do we have any other questions regarding, to Joe about the budget information?
When is the police contract gonna be presented to council to ratify by
Next week.
next week?
Next week.
I have it on the agenda,
You have to,
for new
pass
business.
the budget, you have to have some contract request, so I know what numbers to put in there.
What was, when they, police made their initial offer, what was their initial offer for how many years? I'm asking whoever negotiated the contract.
the last one they had was 3 years.
Correct.
They got, this time we looked at 5 years.
They're looking at 5 years. Joe, do you have any concerns with the current state of affairs with healthcare? You know,
Well,
projecting out 5 years of,
Healthcare, it's been flat for 3 years, it's not gonna stay flat. And then, my concern is, it's not that, it's just affording it 5 years from now, you're gonna have 5 guys over 100 grand. So unless you raise taxes, you don't have a problem with it. But if you're gonna keep finding ways to offset the deficit with possible permit fees, possible something else, there's gonna be an issue, cause it's a lot of money.
Well, I would like I'd like Stan, since he's got no problem with this contract, I want him to say he's got no problem with raising taxes to pay for it. Because we can't spend money that we don't have. That's how people go bankrupt.
Then why are we paying $90 a ton for recycling?
Because you're reducing your carbon footprint.
Yeah. Oh, also because we have a law that requires that, which was passed by council, that you could repeal if you want to. I haven't heard anybody talking about that. So I assume that the people that are in favor of this 5% increase are also in
You
favor of
also
the
get your
tax
performance
increase.
grant for your recycling. If you don't participate in a recycling program, you don't get any credit for what the ShopRite recycles, for what Walmart recycles.
Haven't been turning that in though.
Yeah, that was
That's,
tough.
how much money do we get on the
We should have
recycling performance
it
grant?
next week, a couple $1,000 we'll get, that was filed, that we haven't got the money.
A couple of thousand, but we're spending how much?
But for recycling, about 10 grand this year.
And how much do we get back on the performance grant?
Spending 10, we're getting back two?
A couple thousand, yeah.
You're like
You're making it
7,400.
7,400?
Last year, the last year one, and then this year, we don't know the total.
The recycling's not
We won't
doing
know
as well as
they
it
get it
should be
next year.
doing.
Yeah, you're gonna next year the grant.
With the last one we got
We all know that.
was 7,400, 7,500.
Yeah, we paid, I budgeted $70,000. This year, we averaged about $4,000 a month to Solid Waste Authority, and averaging a little less than $1,000 a month to JP Mascaro for the recycling. And but there's also, we do bulk pickup, we don't charge for that either, which is crazy too. I mean, you get something picked up at your house.
Bulk
We do charge
pickup
for
is-
bulk pickup.
Very little, you're losing money on that.
Yes, we don't charge enough for bulk
That's my
pickup,
point.
but we do charge for
Yeah,
bulk
so that's why I've been saying the trash things since I got here since 2013. You're getting free trash pickup.
Well, glass bottles at the bar too, so it's paying for them, taxpayers.
Joe, can I ask you about the budget process?
Yeah, if you like, sure.
So you say we have to have a police contract in place before we can approve a budget, right?
You don't have to, but I need an estimate of where they're gonna go with it, because if I put in 5% and they go 8%, then that's not gonna happen, but I won't be able to fund it, and just vice versa, if I put in 5 and they come in at 3, then I over budget, I could use that money somewhere else, so it would be nice to have it in place, at least even if it's not signed, at least they know it's not gonna change.
So that could wait until after January.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't been part of negotiations, so I don't know how long they've
Well,
been
there's,
negotiating.
when is their contract up? Is that up at the end of the year?
End of the year.
Because I'm looking at people who are gonna be voting on a five-year contract to give a 5% increase to all the borough employees, every single one, plus the police officers, plus whatever stipend they're getting for the training and stuff like that. And, some of these people are not even gonna be here in a month. And we're gonna be stuck with that for 5 years. It seems like you're spending the future's money here. I don't know that we're saving any money by going to a 5-year as opposed to going to a 3-year or 2-year. But, it just, I don't think that I don't know. I just think this is like a lame duck decision here, and I think it's way out of line, and I haven't seen any justification for it yet. And everybody's acting like it's a done deal.
No, we didn't say it was a done deal.
Okay. That's good then, Beth, because what I'm hearing is that was the number that Joe was given. And I heard Stan, who's the negotiator.
No, everything's not written in stone, Glenn.
Okay.
We're still debating it. It'd be nice. We'll see what happens after we get all the numbers.
I'm gonna need some direction on other
I
things,
know.
what you wanna
I
do.
know.
At least if everybody just gave me an idea, I can compile everybody's thoughts if they're different for non-uniform,
Right.
as well as if anybody wants to put a $10 or $20 trash fee in place,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
Cause you gotta fund recreation too, you gotta
Yeah,
fund
absolutely.
beautification. And the other problem is your buildings, the firehouse here, we put a lot of money into from the mold issue there, the roof caving in here,
Yeah,
Lighthouse Hall's had issues.
yep.
So that's not gonna get that much
Graded, yeah.
better, cause they're not new buildings. And, so, we're just hoping, we don't have bad weather.
We do need to find money to pay the EMS and get them back up to speed. And what's going on right here, we're saying that we're actually cutting them further rather than putting more money into them. Joe just said, Beth, that he's going from 100,000 down to 70,000.
I can't hear you.
I
I'm saying that, we still need to figure out how we're going to provide ambulance coverage for the citizens of the town. I don't know whether the police officers, who we all like and respect and appreciate, would want to, get their increase at the expense of, killing off the ambulance
I
service.
don't think that's not a great, yeah, that doesn't even come into play.
Well, it has to come into play when you're
Now,
spending
you're saying
money.
you're gonna kill off that's not fair.
Yeah, but you're
You
only
just
budgeting
reduce the
$70,000 for next year for EMT
It's
service.
6 hours
What
a
was
day.
budgeted the past 5 years for EMT services?
Last year, we're not gonna
Past
meet you,
five.
I don't know, the last five, I just can tell you,
Well,
the last couple of years, it's a
we
little,
need to know
little
what
over
the last
100,000. I can get to the last five, I don't have.
So that's a 30% cut,
But we're not gonna even meet that this year because it's been down, they haven't been.
because we haven't staffed the EMTs.
Correct.
They have not been able to go out because there's been some kind of freeze on hiring. They've got big holes in their schedule because the borough is blocking, hiring EMTs. That's why the ambulance only has one person available, and we have the QRS go out and no ambulance, because you need 2 people on the ambulance.
The borough is not blocking hiring anyone,
They aren't?
no. Matter of fact, when,
Are you accepting
Ed-
applications?
Are you accepting
when
applications?
When Ed was getting his officers trained, he reached out and asked if there was anyone else that wanted to be trained, and we were told no, no one else wanted to be trained.
You're talking about volunteers versus paid.
Yeah.
He reached out to the volunteers, he didn't reach out to the paid staff.
He didn't reach out to.
We haven't heard
any-
anything about
There
it.
was
Not
a
one
yes,
member
there
has
was
heard
a
about going to the
volunteer, and they
CMTs.
were
The
told no.
chief, yes.
Who do you talk to? You talk to Andy? Or who?
Not one member has heard about the CMT school.
Well, then you should talk to your chief,
Well, we will.
because that's who Ed talked to.
Oh, and the borough's gonna pay for us to go to school?
Even so, it looks like you need about 12 people from what I've been told. 12 part-time people, EMTs hired in order to fill out the schedule, which has already been agreed to in the past year, just for one shift. Because these people work a few hours here and a few hours there. And, when we have a schedule that can't be filled because we don't have EMTs to cover it, it means that we either spend the money to hire more EMTs to fill the
We wanna cause a
schedule.
bigger problem, the same problem with our part-time police officers, when they decide that they won't come here, and we don't have part-time police officers because they're not making the money that they can make elsewhere, just like our EMTs did.
Well, you already have that situation.
Right,
They're
so you're gonna
already
create another
underpaid.
one,
Well,
to try
that's,
and fix one that's not fixable yet,
Mandy,
yeah.
they're underpaid and that's why you have a problem.
They're not signing up for the shifts, they went elsewhere.
Because you won't hire anyone. There's
Because
been
the
a hiring
people that were
freeze
here weren't doing a
since,
sufficient job.
since last year. There's been a hiring freeze.
Now, you're saying that the EMTs that the borough paid here were not doing their job?
I'm saying that they weren't being supervised properly, and no, they weren't doing their job the way they should have been doing their job.
Oh.
Do you have anything in your record?
Well, we agree that they weren't being supervised.
Yep.
Of course, who would supervise them?
Who would? You know it all. Tell me, who would supervise
I'll
them?
tell you who, their employer would supervise them, that's
And
who.
who's their employer, Glenn?
The employer is the borough for the
No,
paid
it's
staff.
not. Look at the litigation. It's public record. You should have all that.
Oh, has that been
Yeah.
settled?
Who supervised
Really? The
you?
labor industry ruled that they're not employees?
Did I say that?
No, you
Don't
said.
put words in my mouth.
No, you said it was settled, and I'm asking you.
I said that it's public record. Look it up.
Public record
Yep.
is that the labor and industry has not decided yet, and they're
Really?
gonna decide that
Okay.
they're employees.
Yeah.
You know something?
Just for housekeeping, you'd have to pass the preliminary, if you can pass it, you can make changes to it next week. If somebody can get me where they wanna go with the salaries, next week you can pass it, you can pass it with a deficit, it's not to be balanced, and then you have to pass it, you have to leave it available for 10 business days for the public to review, comment, and then you can pass the final budget, prior to the end of the year. And any new council, if they have the votes, can reopen the budget in January, if that's the case too. So if anybody says they can't, as long as they have the votes, they can reopen it in January. And make changes, so I think it's like 15% on a line item or something.
15% per line item?
Yeah, I believe that's what it is.
Huh?
It's a total
I'm
of
sorry,
15%.
Oh, total.
Total, yeah, the whole budget,
Gotcha.
they can adjust it up to 15%.
I think you have to a certain date to do that.
Yeah, you gotta do it, right, if you're gonna reopen it, you have to do it right at the like reorganization meeting.
Now, if all these projects come in, the shovels in the ground next year, and they come in what they're projecting, you have a lot of money coming in, but the concern with that is too, it's just one-time permits. So you gotta look in the long run, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do, as salaries increase, as costs increase, as infrastructure gets older and older. And we have no additional money in savings at all, there's no fund balance at the end of the year. It's pretty much zero. Any further questions, Ms. Buckets?
Anyone else? That's good. Thanks, Joe.
Joe, when do you need direction from anybody from council to make adjustments before we see the preliminary budget?
Yeah, up to the meeting, whenever he's gonna give it to me, so email me, call me, whatever, I'll come in here and meet again, afternoon, you know, and if it's less than a quorum, we don't have to advertise it, people have ideas when I meet individually, I'll gladly do that. And I'll present that on Monday, what was proposed from other council people, and then you can decide what you wanna do then too. We're not gonna get any worse than, the worst you're at right now is $143,000 in deficit, that's less than a mil. It's in better shape than I actually thought it would be, considering the increased costs. So we're in pretty good shape that way, and I was.
That's with about 70,000 for EMT.
Yeah, exactly. 76,000, right?
Joe,
Which
real
was
quick.
bad.
Go, I'm sorry.
Essentially, that number needs to be doubled just to cover one 10-hour shift for 6 days a week for an entire year.
And then you're looking at a mil and a half.
When is 6 days in a week, it's 7 days in a week?
I thought it was Sundays or something, we were volunteer, or
No.
I thought we were funding 6 days a week, or we're funding 7 days a week.
We've always been, since I've been on council, they've been funding 7 days a week.
We're not funding it.
Yeah, people need.
You're putting in the budget, you're not
every day
spending
of
the
week,
money.
I think.
It's still fine.
How much of that 100,000 if we spent
Huh?
70,000?
Maybe we'll put the police officer.
Alright, let me adjust my math. 2380 times 52 is 123,760, and then throw about 30% on top of that, which is gonna cover your employer paid taxes and your workers' compensation. So now we're at 160,888. So you're looking at 160,000.
So that'd be another 90 grand.
Was that for 2 shifts?
That's for one 10-hour shift, 7 days a week. That's ballparking it at $17 an hour, which is, I think, pretty much where we're at with the EMT salary, correct?
No, with the 5% increase,
1465.
with the 5% increase, they'd be at 1538 next year. And the fire marshal makes more, of course. But they're at 1465 right now.
Was there a contribution to the fire company next year?
No, just the money for the fire relief, which we get from the state.
Just the relief and the
No
hydrant
additional
hydrant fees and all that, no?
There's money budgeted for maintenance and repairs, salaries,
no-
nothing,
nothing for operations?
No capital, no,
Okay.
nothing. I don't have a budget, I wasn't told to do it. You have for fire, you have, what's on the maintenance and repairs, 20 grand, electricity, liability insurance, fuel, salaries, and the hydrant rental, put under there, 2 grand. That's it. It's about $171,000, so that's
Anything else? Joe, before you go, do we stand with our?
17's done, 8, we're still compliant, 18's gonna be done by, hopefully by the end of the year, you'll be compliant. So,
When was it started?
18, we started a couple weeks ago, they can start the piece, I give them a few other things. So I know there's a, you're compliant now, so if you want me to get a grant tomorrow, you can get one.
Each mill's worth how much?
168,000,
Each mill's 168,000?
ballpark, yeah, it comes to about almost 1.6 million at the state right now. You take the mill 168 times 9.15, and that gives you your tax. The mill's calculated, our assessment this year was just so everybody knows how it's done. The assessment came in at the county, $181,243. Divide that by 1,000, gives you $181,243. You take 2% discount out for all the people that pay early, and 5% delinquency. Gives you a net mill of 168,556. You times that by 9.15, that gets your total real estate taxes ballpark proposed that you're gonna collect. And like I said, the assessment's gone down quite a bit since 2013. You don't get as much per mill as you used to. But at 1 mill, you have an extra 17 grand left over if you don't touch anything else in the budget.
So basically raise it by 4 mils, you'll cover your amount, plus you have the EMTs 24/7,
Yeah,
for 7
right.
days, and the police department will get their.
If you raise it 4 mils,
You cover everything,
A lot of
right?
things, you'll bring in almost $600,000.
And would cover everything.
Yeah, you get caught up on the pension too. Now that would be 4 mils would be roughly $240 a year. Now the house assessed at $50,000. That'll put you at $13.
Now that tax, if you raise that tax, Joe, which bill does that come out of? I mean, does that come out of your borough tax or your?
Borough tax.
Okay, and our borough tax, a typical borough tax bill is like $300?
Well, the house assessed at 50,000, times that by 9, so it'd be 450. You take 50,000 divided by 1,000 is 50, times that on the mill, it's like $450 per house assessed at 50,000. You're assessed at 100,000, you're talking around $800 for your borough tax.
Your house is assessed at 100,000, it's $910.
Ballpark, that's why I said 800, so. it's
Right
close.
now.
It sounds close, so, yeah. So if you jump 4 mils, you're gonna be $1,300.
$1,300 for $100,000.
Ballpark. And no trash fee either, so you can bump the trash fee up, that would, and then reduce taxes, you can do that too. Don't have such a high millage, increase the trash fee, it's fair.
Well, as you said, Joe, we're the only town left with 2 days of trash. Everybody else is 1 day for trash.
A couple towns have it 2 days still, but they charge they charge
Right.
a fee.
Yeah.
So we have 2 trash days, we don't charge, and some towns, their recycling are every 2 weeks
Right.
instead of every
Now,
week.
you guys have great trash pickup.
Right, but where I'm at with all this, I got 1 truck just repaired,
Yeah, that's the
the
problem.
second truck in, and I'm only have a certain amount of people.
That's my concern, the trucks are falling apart.
I have no place to put them out of the weather, so they've been out in the weather forever. And I'm trying to keep everything afloat, so, it's gonna come a time when we're gonna go to 1 day a week, and then we're gonna do recycling every 2 weeks. It's because we just can't keep going the way we are with these trucks.
You're making my argument, as I said, the costs are going up and up. And if the trucks go down, then we gotta outsource some things, that's gonna cost money.
And
too.
all-
How much are you saving, Joe, if you go every other week on recycle? You're still taking the same amount of recycling
Yeah,
as you
you're
don't.
not gonna
You're still paying the employees whether they're picking up trash or they're down there
And
doing something else. in
the
store.
trucks might last a little longer, that's probably about it.
The
Right.
trucks
So
are
really
20
not
years
cost-
old.
You're not
And you're
saving
saving
any money.
on gas.
And you're
on
saving on
gas.
gas for 1 day.
But
So our
yeah,
trash
yeah,
truck is
yeah.
20 years old, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean, it's right,
Yeah.
and they're about 300, 400
13.
grand to buy brand new.
How many, Ellen?
Trash truck's 13.
13.
2007.
And how much is a new trash truck? Do you have
About
any guess?
300 grand.
How much?
300 grand.
What's it usually cost to outsource trash?
Depends on the bid, I mean, I know some towns, it's hard to tell because it's the size of the town and what they pick up, but I've seen it from anywhere from 10 grand a month to 20-some dollars, $1,000 a month, depending on size of the town, pickups, how many pickups, and it's all bid process the engineer would handle.
What's budgeted for trash this year? Like not.
The cost of $220,000.
220, that's
No
payroll,
fee.
everything?
That's everything, yes.
Now, remind you, Joe, different townships to pick up trash have outsiders come in.
Sure.
They only take certain items, no grass clippings, no tree
I get
branches,
you.
no
In-house is
couches,
better
no
service.
chairs,
I hear you.
that's all extra. And that's
I hear
something, we've been doing for free.
Yeah, I know, I
Throw
agree.
the couch in there, throw the chair in there.
Yeah, so you guys budgeted 220,
220, about
which
221.
includes their salaries, right?
Yes, includes all the trash.
So that means if you got to an outside source and it's gonna cost you what, 100 to 200,000 anyhow?
Ballpark, yeah, ballpark.
So 150,000?
Ballpark.
So in other words, you save 70,000, but then you have to have employees to do other things in the borough. So are you really, how much are you really
Yeah, you're not
saving?
gonna save, you're not gonna really save.
You're not saving anything by having outsourced trash then,
Not if you keep the guys you have on the staff.
375.
especially when you only have 2 full-time employees?
Yeah, there's 2 full-timer budget for trash,
So you're not saving
on
any.
1 part.
And then you're looking at maybe 1 or 2 trash pickups, not
We
3.
did, that's when we bought our own trash truck.
We did have an outside
Outside,
gang.
for years.
For years,
Yeah,
and
it was
then
before me.
it just got out of line.
Yeah, I know, sometimes they're not, but you can put stuff in the bid contract, that if they don't do certain things, you can hold back money and stuff like
The
that.
sad part is, once you bring them in, them
That's it.
items that you wanna get rid of, shame on you, they're not
For the
taking.
it's just how you go off the contract, I
Yeah,
guess.
my daughter's place does not take any furniture at all, nada.
I think in-house, and keep it in-house with residents.
Some
get better
places you
people
have to
take
use
care
their
of
own
the
trash
neighborhood.
bags.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to
But
pay
some
for
of the outside
bags.
services
That's
are pretty
paid
good too,
through
you just
trash
have to pay
bags,
for it.
yeah.
What, you have to buy trash?
You have to
bags
buy
from
their
the
trash bags.
company?
Yeah, so they know it's
No,
their trash.
from the township, for the borough.
So
Some
no, it's
You
towns
have to
trash.
buy their bags.
Some towns actually negotiate, each homeowner has to negotiate their own trash.
That's true.
Pickup.
Yeah,
That sounds like it might be for leaf collection or something.
no.
That's for trash.
Because I know that we had that one place where we lived where the bags had to be.
Yeah, you have
to be
certain bags for
recycled.
pickup, yeah. No, this is actual trash.
What's on there?
Anybody? Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
New business item. Good, consideration of land acquisition agreement with Alliance.
Madam Chair, I just wanna correct that. You already approved this contingent on a review, which I wanted to give you all a copy of what we had, but we're still working on it, and I've asked Tanya's opinion as well, so
Okay.
that will not be for consideration. You've
Okay.
already approved it. I will try and bring the information if we can get it together by
Okay.
next week.
Del Porter presentation?
They'll be here on the 9th.
On the
They'll
ninth?
be here on the
Yeah,
9th.
they'll pour us on the 9th.
They were supposed to be here today.
No, the 9th.
They were supposed to be here today.
Are they here? You sure?
Got changed, yeah, they
Oh,
got
I'm sorry.
changed, Tuesday last week, I think.
Yeah, we were here and then they said, I thought they were coming.
Yeah, they were
on.
gonna come.
Sorry.
And then,
When did they change it?
I would say it was either Tuesday or Wednesday last week, before they had called.
What's the presentation gonna be on?
It's for Del Porter being bought out by Aqua. So that you need to sign a contract with Aqua. Since we're right now on contracts with Del Porter.
That's not good.
I'll go hammer this.
I had a nightmare.
What's that?
I
Okay,
can explain more of it, but it's easier if they explain it.
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
Wow. That's how I open them.
The EDSI program presentation, is it for the Valley Zoo? No.
I don't know, maybe that's next week too.
Is that with Del Porter?
No,
Different.
What's the EDSI?
Oh, that's probably next week.
That's the street lights.
oh, it's a street.
They're not here yet?
Nope, they're not here yet.
Has that been rescheduled?
They were supposed to have one in July.
They were supposed to, start in September.
The streetlight program's on hold right now.
Why?
It's on hold everywhere
Why?
because of financing. Because they're trying to run the financing through the county, and because there was a switch with the election, they're having more discussions with the new county council that's coming in. So that's held everything up with the process with the financing.
Didn't we already? give them
You
one?
approved it, but county council hasn't approved it.
Oh.
And the current county council will not approve a contract because of the new county council, so they're waiting for the new county council.
Makes sense.
That does make sense.
So they're waiting for the new county council to come in, and once they're seated, they will vote on the issue of the financing, but the financing's gonna run through Delaware County to the municipalities that are gonna finance.
So that means
So
the
if it-
financing gonna change for what was
Financing
originally.
isn't gonna change, it just needs the approval, but they're waiting for the county council.
But this was all supposed to be done
So they have to
for
reapprove.
September, so when held it up then?
All the same thing.
Is that what it was, September?
September.
They knew
And
there
then they were
was, they knew there was,
supposed to start
they knew
in
there was a selection
Eddystone
in
in
November.
September. We approved it back in June.
Yeah.
I met them 3 times at Chester, and they were waiting on finance. Like,
You're supposed to do
Well,
construction in
maybe by
Yeah.
next September.
Yeah. You can always be hopeful.
They want it done.
So, do we know?
No.
So, consideration of FOP Borough Police Contract Agreement. Next week.
The only other thing for new business, I forgot to put on there, I apologize. CDBG resolution and the hearing. The hearing will be right at 7 PM. It was advertised in the beginning of the year.
Say that again, the hearing will be,
At 7 PM, that'll start at
Next
7
Monday.
PM prior to the council meeting. And then we go right into the council meeting.
Monday, okay.
Next month.
Thanks, Marty.
Sorry about that, I forgot.
Okay, alright, public comment. Mr. Wilson.
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Wilson.
I just wanted to follow up on last month's, there was a presentation by, Catania Engineering about a, stormwater runoff remediation plan.
Plan for
And
Alliance.
the plan was gonna be posted on the website for public review.
The PRP, the pollution reduction plan.
Right, right. Was that on the website? I couldn't find it.
I don't post, I know they, Kristen, who was here,
Mhm.
sent it over, I don't know if it's got on the website as of yet, but it was sent over, so. There should be a copy here, so anyone that would wanna come and take a look at it
During
as
business
well during
hours,
business
I'm
hours,
working.
they certainly can do so. I know you were
Not
trying to do it a little
available,
bit
and I
more
mentioned that
electronically,
last
but,
month, and then, so it sounded like it was gonna be on the website, so there's still a week left for public comment, is that right?
yeah, it should be, it's 30 days from when we presented it, so.
Okay.
So could it be on the website, or do I have to take an extra day off of work?
Did Kristen email it?
She did, okay.
I'll find out.
Okay.
Alright, action items. 2020 preliminary budget. This is for next week. Permission to advertise the 2020 preliminary budget. Approval of minutes. Treasurer's report. Cash receipts and disbursements journal. Code enforcement report. Police report. Fire report. Engineer's report. An executive session is scheduled prior to the next regular council meeting at 6 PM. Regular council meeting scheduled for 12/9/19 at 7 PM. Prayer by,
Seven, right, and then.
Prayer by,
Aye.
is Pastor Charlie or his other friend, Ronald Hughes?
Yes.
And that lady,
okay,
yeah.
round table. We'll start with, Mayor,
I'm good.
Stan?
I have things, but I'll wait till the next council.
Okay. I'm going the opposite direction.
Yeah, I know,
Okay.
I mean, I have, the only thing I can tell you right now is the bathrooms are winterized. They're like
Yay.
They don't go through another flood.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Beth?
I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving with their family. I hope everybody else put on at least 4 pounds. Yes, Christmas is coming, so another 4 probably. Senior luncheon, I'm gonna leave it to Kelly's coming up. So if you're a senior, is that 60 and over?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
60 and over, okay, get a nice lunch, next Saturday. Okay, Kelly.
Mayor? I'm good. Bill? Stuart?
I've got some serious concerns with the proposed budget for the police department. And I'll preface the comments with that I am a big champion of the police department, and my time here on council, I'm proud of the fact that we were able to fully staff the police department. I'm proud of the fact that we were put rank and file with, naming the new chief, the lieutenant, the sergeant. I'm proud of the police department for the fact that they've got their EMTs. However, considering that we would be facing a deficit, and that deficit kind of falls squarely on the shoulders of this contract. 5% is double what the cost of living is. 5% is much higher than what is been proposed and accepted by other departments throughout Delaware County, and 5 years is a long time to be locking in, so,
How
you
many
know.
other boroughs have locked in at 5?
Chester.
Chester.
Chester just did theirs and they're 5 years. Most of them are going to 5 years.
What was Chester's increase?
I don't know, I just heard it was 5 years.
Very minimum.
That's right, you know, yeah.
Mhm.
So they get 5%?
No, no. 1.5
Okay. That's for the police?
for the police and fire.
Okay.
But the contract doesn't just negotiate an increase in salary, correct?
They're the two major things in the contract, is what's the duration of the contract and what's the salary increases
And
gonna
the
be.
benefits don't change?
Benefits have stayed flat for the last 3 years. We're in that public healthcare trust,
Yeah.
which has performed very well, and the healthcare has not increased over the past 3 years. With the presidential election next year, who knows where healthcare is going to go?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's, that 5% just is, to
But was
me.
the 5% a given because there was other things they were asking that we couldn't give?
What did they ask for? What did the police ask for? When they gave the initial offer, what was their initial offer?
They wanted, let me think now.
It's been a while. I don't remember.
They wanted, 50 and 25, 50 and 25 and out. They wanted 6 weeks, 25
Is
years.
there something with the holidays too?
They wanted 3 extra holidays. But I don't wanna get, cause I don't wanna give false information.
But there was a lot more that they were asking for, right?
What was the
And-
percentage they asked for an increase in pay? Did they ask for 5%?
Yes.
Normally they do.
Okay, they asked for 5%.
Normally, you know, and I've been
Normally they
involved in
do.
three police contracts, and it's always 5%, 5 years, 5%, that's the initial offer. And then the borough comes back with a counter offer.
What's the one-time stipend? How much is that? You said it was a one-time stipend?
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
For the EMTs?
Yeah.
About 5%.
So this coming year, they're gonna get a
No.
10% raise.
No, I don't think it's, no,
I thought it was.
no.
I'll have to wait to bring to the.
Yeah, I have it with me.
We don't know that number?
I don't remember that number.
Oh.
My intel says 5%.
I don't remember.
5% increase for the fact that you've got an EMT certificate, on top of that, another 5% increase in your
I
salary.
don't remember, I don't know why I thought 3.
Like I said, I don't have it here.
Yeah, I don't
I'll
know.
have it here next week, everything will be done.
So for 2020, if there's a 5% plus a 5% stipend, then that means that the number that Joe's working with is gonna be.
Yeah, I
3 and
thought it was
5.
3 and 5.
Right.
I thought it was 3 and 5, yeah.
And you wanna
Yes.
know if that goes towards the pension too, I don't know, if that stipend is that go towards the.
No.
the base
So
salary.
it was supposed to be a one and done.
I don't
But
know,
it's like-
10%, but-
Percent.
But why is it a percent then?
Because it's based on their rate of pay and how much they're paid.
So they
Did
get
you
a
negotiate that?
I did not,
Great.
Oh.
but I've seen the contract just like everyone else on council who was present did.
We all
Okay.
discussed it.
Then how come nobody knows whether they,
Because it's been months and we've had a lot of other things go on in between them, and we forget things.
well, I'm just saying that if it's 5% plus 5% for
Well,
the
when you
first
see
year.
the contract, we can all discuss it.
Yeah.
We all have
Well,
it in
if
front
you
of
don't know
us.
what's in the contract.
We don't either, apparently.
Apparently. What I'm saying.
January 6th.
What I'm saying is that you gave Joe 5% to work with this budget. If for just the first year, there's 5% plus 5%, that means it's gonna be 10%. In 2020, that means
I
that
don't
Joe's
remember
Joe's
5
gonna
and
look
5. I
bad
remember
because
3
he.
and 5.
Will you please stop, Mandy?
I'm talking just like you're talking.
I am talking, yeah, you're talking over me.
No,
You keep
I'm
interrupting
answering,
me.
you said
Okay,
it's
so the
5
fact
and
of the
5, and I
matter is
said I don't
it's
remember
higher.
5 and 5, I remember 3 and 5.
Yeah.
That's what was discussed. In the
Yeah.
discussion that I partook in was 3 and 5, not 5 and 5. Now, I
Okay.
could be wrong, it may have changed afterwards,
Well, thank
but
you.
we don't know because none of us have it in front of us.
Well, thank you, Mandy, because if it's 3 and 5, it's still the wrong number to give Joe. It still means that
I didn't
his
give the number to
numbers
Joe.
are gonna be
Joe,
better.
did I give you the number? Thank you.
So we're talking about 8% raise this year, is that what we're talking about?
No.
That's what Mandy says.
Yeah.
It's not what they.
It's not, it's,
A 3 and a 5 is 8, a 5 and a 5 is 10.
Not all of them are
Yeah,
young.
when you,
But the
it's
full-time-
Two separate things.
And it's not a flat 8, it's 5% and then 3%. So it's not 8%.
Well, I'll tell you how I heard about some of this stuff, because around the county, there were people saying that this borough was taken.
who said that?
I'm not gonna tell you,
At this
but
point?
I'm
Oh, you
talking to
just-
somebody
Borough is
who's on
taken.
another borough council,
I don't know.
and the
Yeah.
MOB is out there saying, hey, they didn't even make us a counter offer,
Oh,
so.
What does taken mean? I don't understand.
they,
Like the borough was taken?
yeah, we took them over they got on us. Yeah, but we haven't even signed it, we haven't even.
I don't know how you negotiate without making a counter offer.
Because there's more items on the list than just an increase in pay.
What's next?
I'm done, thank you.
Okay. Well, senior luncheon will be on Sunday.
Yes.
This Sunday from 12 to 3. Saturday, I'm sorry, 12 to 3. The notices will be in your mailboxes shortly, as soon as we can get some people to deliver them. And then the toy giveaway will be the following Saturday. Santa will start at 10, he'll end at Lighthouse Hall at 11. Make sure the children or the guardian, whoever has the child, make sure that they have proof of residency. Oh, and the 11th is the tree lighting. So we're gonna have everyone meet out front of the school, on the 9th Street side of the school, and we're gonna do sort of a caroling parade to the monument, where we will light the tree. And I heard Santa might be there, so.
He's busy.
Yeah, well, he's gonna take some time out for us, so Santa will be there too, and that's on Wednesday, the 11th.
Hot chocolate and cookies.
Hot chocolate and cookies after. And that is all I have.
Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Don't forget to hand the check.